Thanks.
Hey, Sister Jacqueline.
Hi, Dr. Umar.
My first question for you right off the top,
Yeah.
because you have such a beautiful face,
Mm.
beautiful lips, beautiful nose, them eyes are mesmerizing. Why you ain't got your own hair on, Jacqueline, as beautiful as you are? Talk to your
It's
brother.
just some braids.
It's just some
I
braids.
have my
Sim-
natural in my profile picture and lots of
oh,
pictures with my hair out.
okay, okay. I want you to go natural because you're gorgeous. You don't need that. I
Mm.
want you King Kong, want you natural.
Okay.
So, where you at, Jacqueline?
I'm
What city?
in California.
What city? Near what
No.
big city?
Oh,
Give me, give me a big city that you're close to.
Oakland.
Okay, you're in the Oakland. Okay, you're in the Bay Area.
Hmm.
All right. Now, how's everything going in the Bay Area? What's the toughest thing about being a black woman in California's Bay Area?
Um, I would say super multicultural here, like a really multicultural.
So they
And
trying to multiculturalize us out of existence there.
I mean, I guess, but I think that because it's so multicultural, there's like a lack of emphasis on here because there's so many communities to cater to. So
Okay. Okay. And how's the dating scene out there? Are you in a relationship? Single?
I'm
What's your status? Or you in a situationship where,
I'm spoken for.
okay,
Hmm.
powerful. And since you're spoken for, we'll move on. Shout out to the king. Where are you at on the Sean Puffy Combs situation?
I actually work in law,
Ah,
so
are you an attorney or you just work in law
I
right now?
work in law, but I'm studying to be.
Powerful. That's good. That's good. What's your take?
Well, I wouldn't say
Wait
excited. I'm
a minute.
excited.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You're not dating a.
No, he's very much African.
Okay, thank you. Because somebody said they thought it was a bunny. Okay,
No,
good.
no. But I'm I'm interested to see how the trial goes and the precedents that it'll set
Hmm.
for future cases like in the music industry.
Okay.
Uh, I am of the personal opinion that I believe that he is guilty. I don't believe. Let me dial back. Just judging from, and I used to live in Atlanta. I went to an HBCU,
Okay.
and one of the things that I had was, I don't want to disclose it, but it was very close to that camp. And just from the things I heard and from the people I spoke to, there's a reputation of him already within our own community, even before all of the noise. And judging by
Hmm.
the complaint, Cassie's complaint, all of the different complaints that gone out. While I do think that the volume of complaints that have gone in there, obviously there's going to be some people in there that are lying and trying to get a cash grab. I think there's substantial enough evidence to notice within our own community that he's a harm within our
He's
own
a harm
community.
to the
Yeah.
community. Let me ask you a question. And you may very well be right, so I can't dispute that. I don't know Sean Combs personally. But here's a question I have for
Mm-hmm.
you. Let's say Sean Combs is a harm to the community.
Mm-hmm.
What about all the thousands of Roman Catholic preachers who have molested black children in our neighborhood through the Roman Catholic Church? Why do you think we don't pursue them as aggressively as we pursue a Sean Combs?
Um, Let me break this down. Right? While I do agree that there are white people, like our white counterparts, definitely do fly underneath the radar. And within the Sean Combs case, there are intersections of racism within the structure of who we go after first. But I think that whenever we're having the conversation about Sean Combs and we add white people and what they do, I think that it's a deflection on to the current conversation about Sean Combs.
Even if we're talking about what white people did to black children, it's
And
still a deflection.
as a Christian, I don't agree with that. I don't believe that within any religious governing body that should be going on, like whatsoever. I think that everybody who does harm to anybody should be held accountable to the highest extent.
With that being said, because I completely agree with you, do you think that black America is complicit in helping the white racist social order use black men as scapegoats for a larger systemic problem that the government does not care to target?
That's a loaded question. Complicit. I don't think that in an overall sense, I don't think we have enough political, socio-economic power to even be complicit. I
Even
think,
though we watch more media than any other group in the country, you don't think we could be complicit by the not only the amount of media we consume, but how often we attack and malign and humiliate Sean Combs, for example, in the public eye, and we deflect from other cases like Donald Trump being found guilty of rape, but you have black people saying they're still going to vote for him. So if we care about sex assault of women and we care about Sean Combs beating up Cassie, which I completely agree was wrong, but how do we then turn a blind eye to Donald Trump being found guilty of rape in court, but yet you have black men and black women saying that they're still going to vote him in for president? At some point, don't we have to look at the selective morality, the conditional hypocrisy in the black community? Because it seems like when it's a popular black person, we're all in shaming them. We're all in lynching them. We're all in them being held accountable. But when white men do the same things to black women, when white men do the same thing to black children, we are not as aggressive in seeing to it that justice is served to them.
yeah, I when you were talking about justice in the context of government justice, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Because I studied political science in college, and I believe that within the context of getting justice to the American government system, there's always going to be a racial component in there that
Okay.
is using black people as the end to getting that justice. So I do agree with you, Dr. Umar, that that is always going to be a fight. It's always going to be a fight within, if you're focused on getting justice in the context of the American government, that's always going to be a thing. I think that I don't ever think that there was going to be a time where we're going to get away from watching black people be the first in line. But I think that sometimes we get so focused on that, and walk with me here, that there's an overcorrection that's done,
Okay.
which then defend the person that's up there,
Okay.
that's the goat, because we feel like we need to overcompensate for the lack of white people being held accountable. And I think that both of those issues need to be handled separately. While I think that we need to be, what I think we need to be doing is looking at the process in which the federal government, like I believe they're called like the biggest law firm in the entire world is the United States Federal, um, uh, the federal, forgot their official name, but they're like the biggest law firm in the world. They have unlimited funds to go and do whatever they want, to the point where their of conviction rate is like over 97% whenever the feds get involved,
Mm.
right? I think that if we really wanted equity within finding people accountable for what they do, we need to start there. Because I think that when we focus on, oh, Sean Diddy Combs it's an attack on a black man, I think that that gives him an in to play on that, to get away from what he's done and how he's harmed our community. Because, you know, I'm a black woman, I don't ever like to see black women being harmed, black women being talked about. We're also not taking into account of how the music he makes and the culture that he fed into wasn't helpful for black women, wasn't helpful for dark skinned black women. So aside from the fact that he's a black man and that
But you're not saying that Puffy should, speaking purely on the music aspect, you're not saying that Puffy should be the scapegoat of 50 years of a hip hop music genre that has
no,
pervaded largely, miscegenation through its music. You wouldn't make Puffy the scapegoat for that, would you? Because a lot of Bad Boys music,
yeah,
although probably not positive, it wasn't as hardcore and raunchy as what we see in a lot of popular gangster rap. It was more crossover type music, if you
No,
would.
I
So I don't.
yeah. I definitely agree. I don't think he was like the worst of the worst, but when I'm talking about holding him accountable for that, I mean within an inter-community context.
Okay.
Like, oh, maybe he's the starter for that conversation, but there's a bigger conversation that needs to be had. And I think even just like the culture that they fed into, the drugs, the parties, the while he may not have been the component of component of that music, we have to look at how much of that music he was involved in, all the music he was pushing, how central he was in feeding the culture, bringing all these people together. Because whether or not, well, we'll let the trial.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
And very great commentary, by the way. What percentage
Mm-hmm.
of the energy Black people are given the Puffy trial with regard to condemning him and wanting to throw away the key? Let's say Black women. What percentage would you say is directly attributable to self hatred and the love of seeing Black people fall from grace? Would you say that all the energy being directed from our community towards Puff is purely based on a thirst for justice? Or do you see Willie Lynch at play somewhere in this? And if so, what percentage of the energy would you attribute to self hate and Black people's tendency to want to see each other fall from grace?
Um, it would be honestly, it'd be ingenuine of me to give you a percentage because I would need to see I would need more research.
Okay.
But I think that there's a bigger there's some teeth to that. There's some truth to Black people wanting to see each other fail, right? And liking that. But I also think that in a wider context of our culture, um, I think that there's a as an obsession with celebrity. We could even see that like that permeating through different parts of culture. Like example, just in religion, like the most popular pastors aren't the best pastors. They're the pastors that are the most popular, you know? And we're so obsessed with sensationalism. I think it's because I forgot what book I was reading that basically talked about this, but because so for so long Black people has seen them like have self-actualized in America as less than. I think that when we see Black people at a higher level than us, we then attributed their identity to ours. So their failures are our failures and their successes are our successes. And we see like each other in tandem. Whereas like with white people, you could see another white people do bad and you could be like, oh, that has nothing to do with me, right? But with Black people, we attach so much of our identity to another Black person. So I think that there's an aspect of self-hatred in there when we see another Black person fail. I think it's a little bit of projecting there, and you want to hate on them a lot, and you like the drama of it, and it's really sensationalized to you. So I think that it would do us a lot of it would do us a lot of good if we stop sensationalizing regular human beings like in general. And that's not just like Black people, that's just like the entire country in general, because it's harmful. And even when we saw, like bringing it back to Diddy, even when we saw the conversation going on when he was with Young Miami, and they were very harmful rhetoric was coming out of that relationship, like, oh, get a bag, oh, it doesn't matter what our relationship status is, like, you know, you're a proponent for Black marriage, but Diddy's out here having babies with multiple women and sleeping with a younger woman, and basically parading around the fact that they don't really care about marriage, and it's about the bag and it's fun and it's this, and all of that is happening, and we're idolizing that, like we're saying that we love it, and it's a lot of young women's goal to have to be in that position.
Got you. My last question for you, good sister. Uh, Statute of limitations
Yes.
on sex, sexual harassment, and sex crimes
Mhm.
accusations. And mind you, my background is psychology. So I know how often black women are raped. I know how often you guys are sexually harassed. Um, Black women suffer sex assault more than any other women in America, and your victims are less likely to pay for it. So I understand the seriousness. But as a woman and as someone who studies law, what is your opinion on women, black and white,
Mhm.
being able to come out of the woodworks 20 years later and say, this happened to me? Now, I understand
Mhm.
you can't put a timeline on trauma. You can't put a timeline on shame. You can't put a timeline on fear. You can't put a timeline on vulnerability. I get it. But do you think something needs to be done about this situation where it appears that women are taking advantage of the law and taking advantage of successful men to some degree by coming out 15, 20 years later and say, he did this to me? And in many cases, there's almost no evidence because it happened so long ago. There's almost no evidence that could prove the person was guilty. So even if they don't lose in court, they still lose in the court of public opinion. As a woman, if you had to vote on this, if you had to make a decision, would you put a limit? Would you say it should always remain unlimited, that a woman could come out 30 years later, 40 years later? Or would you put a limit somewhere? And if so, what kind of a limit do you think you would probably consider?
Um,
Statute of limitations.
Obviously, within context of the law, it's very it's very important that you take your time with laws, because while you may want to intend the law to help somebody, there can be that can set precedents. There's always a possibility for precedents to be set for that law to be manipulated by people, right? So I think that I wouldn't go into making a law focused on who can manipulate it, because as we've seen in sexual abuse cases, and rape cases and allegations, there's really, like, when you look at it in the long term, there's really little to no consequences for the men that get called out. Like, they rarely ever have any long term consequences for it.
Well, most of
Um,
the time, sorry to cut you off, what we're seeing as far as celebrity men
mhm.
is civil suits. So you're right. You know, the statute of limitations for the criminal has
Mhm.
already exhausted itself. So now they're purely going for the bag. They're purely going for the money. So let's reduce it to that. Let's reduce it to a situations where the statute of limitations to bring a criminal suit have collapsed. The time has ran out. They've exhausted the statute of limitations to bring criminal suit. So they're purely looking at civil, which means they're purely looking at money. In situations where women did not file within the appropriate timeline for a criminal suit, they
Mhm.
let that go by. Where this person could have been convicted and went to jail. They let that go by. So now they're dealing with civil and they're purely going after the money. Do you think there should be some limits there? And if so, how long would you allow after the window to bring a criminal case has expired? How much time would you give a woman to bring civil suit for financial damages?
Mhm. I honestly, one of my honest answer,
Yes.
would I would make it in, like, somewhere, or I would do at least 15 years. And let me tell you why.
Okay.
And as you know, you study psychology. Psychologist says that the psychology of an abuse victim is like your brain blocks out the trauma and you don't even remember a lot of it. It takes a long
Hmm.
time back into your body to remember what happened. And not only that, the ramifications of trying to heal, keep you out of work, can ruin a lot of things in your life that could prevent you from financially providing for yourself and paying for
Okay.
your. And what I think what I would focus more on looking at is not only the discovery process of evidence, like what evidence is going to look like. I would also accompany that law with societal changes, like within hospitals, like
Okay.
work with make rape kits more available, like, and also it's really difficult because like the culture of society makes women not want to come forward, because when you
Sure.
go to the police station, you got to tell the story over and over again to like 3 different police officers and an investigator and this person before it gets done. It's really traumatic. So I'm sorry, I would account for all of that, and I would do at least 15.
So let me
I
ask you this. Understanding the 15. Here's my question for you as a woman, because I'm a man, so I can't even begin to understand that type of pressure, that type of pain, that type of shame.
mm-hmm,
Help me understand this. You had about, hypothetically, you had 10 years
mm-hmm,
to bring this to criminal court where your aggressor could have been locked behind bars.
mm-hmm,
You still have to go through the rape kit. You still have to go through the multiple interviews.
mm-hmm,
You still have to go through the scrutiny. You let that go
mm-hmm,
for him to really be held accountable for what he did. You let that go. And then you wait until it goes into the time period for civil case.
mm-hmm,
You still got to do the rape kit. You still got to do the investigation. You still got to face the scrutiny. In other words, you go through the exact same process, albeit you're doing it later. So I do understand what you're saying. She
mm-hmm,
needed time to process and prepare herself. I do understand that. But if you're going through the same thing all over again, how is getting money for sex assault going to make you feel better than the perpetrator being locked behind bars? Will money make you feel justice was served more
mm-hmm.
than the perpetrator actually being locked up in jail?
I
Help me understand how money can be a better price to pay than prison time.
Well, let me tell you this. Money was the same reason why he felt empowered to do that to her. So I can't think of anything more empowering to take that back.
So you would, so I'm still free. I'm not going to jail. I'm
Mm-hmm,
a billionaire. I'm a multi-millionaire.
mm-hmm,
I give you 20, 30, 40 million dollars.
mm-hmm.
I'm still living my best life because I can afford it. And you feel that that is a better example of justice being served than this man actually going to jail and being put behind
Well,
bars?
the legal system doesn't. She can't. Of course, she'd probably love to see him in jail, but that's
But
not.
she could
I
have.
and let me cook Dr. Umar.
Mhm.
Okay. So one, she is, because she was brave enough to tell her story, which led to other people telling their story, which led to now the feds getting involved. So I would say Cassie got the money and she got to see the man in jail. So to me, Cassie won, right? But
But remember, his Fed indictment has nothing to do with the
I
Cassie
know
domestic.
he's still in jail, and she was definitely a proponent, and the feds wanted to take a look at it, especially with that videotape of him coming out, right? So that for one. And for two, in terms of like would money, of course it would never do that. Would When, if your child gets murdered and you go to jail and somebody getting 15 years because of their own trauma that they went through in their life that caused them to be a murderer, would that give you justice? No, it wouldn't. But I think the release of being able to tell your story, also too with the fact of how major he was, and so many people who are around them and who are witnessing what's going on, and
Mhm.
for having to feel so powerless for so long, for them, for the money from her music not being had, from him stringing her along and using his power to be like, I'm going to get you a career, I'm going to get you everything you wanted, all the years of having to be in rehab for all the drug abuse that he's put her on. I think that money would do her very well. And I think that the money is helpful, but I think it's symbolic of power, because that same, like I said earlier, that same money that she's getting was the same money that he held over her head, so she could be the little fine thing on his arm to the whole music industry. So I would say that underneath the constraints of the United States justice system, there's no way that there's possibility for a victim to get 100% justice because your sexual integrity is gone, the person that was killed is gone. We can't bring that back. But I think that the reward is symbolic of something bigger, personally. So I would say
Okay, gotcha. Last question for you, beautiful. And you yourself may not know men who are guilty of domestic abuse,
Mhm.
but most women do, because Black women are significantly victimized by domestic abuse
Mhm.
by Black men. Teenagers, regular age women, elderly women are abused. Help me understand if it isn't hypocrisy, not for you, but speaking for the sisterhood, Black women in general, if it isn't hypocrisy, how do we explain all these Black women who want to see Puffy fried, but you have men you know in your personal life who beat their women, have beat their women, and you've never done nothing about it? Your father, your brothers, your uncles, your nephews, your friends, your college homies, all of these Black men who have put hands on women that
Mhm.
Black women are aware of, never said or did anything about it, but yet they want Puffy to get fried. Is that hypocrisy? Is that a double standard? And if it isn't, how is it not?
2 points. One, absolutely, it's a double standard. I think that within their own environment, they probably feel powerless. So Puffy is definitely used as an outlet for them to express the anger that they probably feel powerless to express in their own
Do
environment. So I do see
you
that.
think that's fair?
That's what I was about.
Okay,
That was my second.
okay, okay.
My second point was that I don't think that's fair, and I think that the I think that women, we need to do a better job at standing next to each other and creating safe spaces for each other to tell each other these things, so we can, if we start holding the men around us accountable,
Mhm.
it'll be a lot easier for us to hold men accountable, like in general within our community. And I just also want to land on this, and it's something I probably have to do better with as well. Like,
Okay.
I in the constraints of me, Christian, I feel is we all have things in our closet. We all have skeletons that, if they came out, like the deepest, darkest, worst things that we came out are bad, right? And one thing about it, and I'm standing 10 toes down on Black women, Diddy should be held accountable. But I think that at the end of the day, I really do hope that he takes this as an opportunity to reflect and to really sit down, look at himself in the mirror, and want to do right by his victims and turn and do better for himself and create a new life for himself as much as he can
Mhm.
with the circumstances. So while I do think there's a level of accountability that we need to have for Diddy, but I think we need to look at ourselves more and also extend a level of grace. And I know people, it's, you're hearing it with her ears. I'm hearing it with, I heard it with her ears too. But we can't at the same time say that, fry him and everything, and then be on the streets and advocate and hold space for the Menendez brothers and hold space for people in our community who have done wrong with drug convictions in the 80s and the 90s. At that time, Black people were saying fry them now, and now 15 years later we're looking back at them with more empathy. So hold him accountable, but also hold grace and pray for him to change. But
Gotcha. Well said, Queen. I'm proud of you. One of the greatest conversations I had with the young sister. Keep up the good work. And next time I see you, you better be natural. Black Queens forever. Snow bunnies never, my sister.
I
Great job. Great job. All right, babe. Take care. Jacqueline did good, y'all, didn't she? That young sister held her own. That was beautiful. That was a very, very intelligent conversation. Who tapping in next? Who tapping in next? This is the Prince of Pan Africanism coming to you live from Dallas, Texas. Live from Dallas. I need some tickets. Tyrese, I need them tickets, big homie. Tyrese, I need them tickets, big homie. Dallas, Texas. King Kong is in the building. Yo, Tyrese. Genuine. I need some tickets to the show tomorrow night, Cannon. I just heard that Belle Biv DeVoe and TTG are going to be at the American Airlines Arena here in Dallas, Texas. BBD and TTG. BBD and TTG. Tyrese, Tank, and Genuine. Belle Biv DeVoe tomorrow at the American Airlines Arena in Dallas. Tyrese, I need some tickets, bro. Tyrese, hit up your brother. I need some tickets. Front row. King Kong Consciousness is pulling up tomorrow in Dallas, Texas at the American Airlines Arena for the Belle Biv DeVoe, Tyrese, Tank, and Genuine concert. And Silk. Shout out to Silk. Silk going to be there. I need some tickets. I need Tyrese, Genuine, get at me. Y'all know my number. I need some tickets, fam. 2 tickets. I'm going to pull up with one of the queens. 2 tickets. I'm going to pull up with one of the queens. 2 tickets. I'm going to pull up with one of my Texas queens. I need 2 tickets. I need 2 tickets. Anybody got an extra ticket for BBD and TTG? Hit the Prince up. Hit the Prince up. Any queens free tomorrow? Any of my Texas queens? Any of my Dallas Fort Worth queens free to accompany me tomorrow night? Are any of my Dallas Fort Worth queens free to accompany the Prince of Pan-Africanism to the BBD TTG concert tomorrow in Dallas? Oh, yes. I'm pulling up. I'm pulling up, and I'm going to take the mic. After they do their concert, we're going to have a lecture. After they do their concert, I'm going to take the mic, and we're going to have a King Kong power lecture at the American. Who dares me to get up there and take the mic? Who dare? Once they done, because I want to see my brothers perform. Once they done, I'm grabbing the mic, and I'm going to turn the joint out on some Garvey shit. Y'all feel me? I'm going to turn the whole American Airlines Arena out on some pro-black Queens Forever, Snow Bunnies Never shit. Do y'all feel where I'm coming from? Dallas, Texas. Do y'all feel where I'm coming from? Don't dare me, family. I'll take that mic and turn it out. I'll take that mic and turn it out after my brothers perform. I heard they not going to let Puff out until the trial begins. I heard Puff can't get out of jail until the trial begins in the spring, family. I'm only high on the ancestors, my beautiful African sister. Wait a minute. Is that an African queen? Was that pina colada? Was that African lemonade? Was that butterscotch? Was that buttercream? Or was that Snow Bunny? I'm not sure. My light-skinned sisters, I need y'all to confirm that y'all belong to the black race. My light-skinned sisters, I need y'all to confirm that y'all belong to the black race, because I can't really tell sometimes whether it's a butterscotch queen, lemon queen, buttercream queen, African vanilla queen, or cave bunny, Diddy will be in jail until the spring, y'all. Diddy will be in jail until the spring. If it's bedtime, why are you on my live, my ninja? If it's bedtime, why are you on my live? You supposed to be asleep. You supposed to be cuddled up right now with a nice curvy queen. Why are you on my live? Why is you on my live, ninja?
You should be warming up some Cinnabons right now. You talking about it's late? You ain't got no Cinnabons? Come on, man. What up, Ray J? Ray J, you got a new show? I'm coming on Ray J's show. Shoot me a text, family. Me, Ray J, and Suki Han are going to do the first show together. Ray J, shoot me a text. I'm coming on your podcast, family. Shout out to Ray J. Shout out to my brother Ray J. Me, Ray J, and Suki Han about to turn the whole shit out. Ray J, get Suki on there. We about to take over the podcast world one time. Ray J, Suki Hana, and the Prince of Pan-Africanism. They ready for that. They ready for that. Ain't y'all ready for that? DR.UMAR, Ray J, and Suki on Ray J new podcast. We're going to turn it out. We're going to turn it out. They ready. Let's do it, fam. Shoot me a text, Ray J. I got you. Shoot me a text. I'm going to hit you up. No doubt. No doubt. I got to see your face, beautiful. Give me a little light. Give me just a little light. There you go. What city you in, my queen? What city you in?
I'm in Charlotte.
You in Charlotte, North Carolina, the Queen City. I ain't spoken Charlotte in about, damn, 6 years. I'm overdue for a Charlotte return. I'm
Ooh.
overdue for a Charlotte return. What's going on in Charlotte, Queen? What you like most about Charlotte and what you like least about Charlotte?
I like the diversity in Charlotte. And
Okay, African diversity, right? You ain't buddy hopping down there. All
oh,
right. Okay. You like the African diversity. And
yeah.
what do you like least about Charlotte?
It's nothing least that I don't like about Charlotte. It's
Okay.
great
You
opportunity.
loving it. You loving it. That's what's up. That's what's up. Are you a single queen?
Yes, I am.
Now, you're beautiful. You're a very beautiful sister. So why are you single?
Why everybody always asks that?
There has to be reasons.
I'm single because just I was raising my kids by myself and just didn't have time for it. My
I
kids
feel you.
are older now, so I'll get back out there.
Get back out. I feel you. Why do we see so many beautiful single sisters? Break that down for us.
Whew, I don't know.
Why
Some
are there so many beautiful single sisters? You know, some brothers say the standards are too high. Some brothers say y'all can't be satisfied. Why do you think so many beautiful queens are single?
I think because there's a lot of broken homes and a lot of guys don't know how to receive some strong women,
I
and
feel
that's about it. And a
I
lot of
feel you.
it's different reasons. It's different reasons.
I feel you. What's your take on the Puff Daddy thing, Queen? Where you stand on that?
Everybody is innocent until proven guilty.
That's right. That's right. Innocent until proven guilty.
Mm-hmm.
What do you
Guy,
what do you think about social media and black children? Do you think it's okay? If you were in charge, would you eliminate social media from the black child's diet?
oh yes, most
Why?
definitely, because they're too influenced with everything.
To
They're too
influence.
influenced. They
To
influence
influence.
everything: the music, the television, everything. If I had to do it over, my children would not have watched half of the stuff or listened to half of the music.
I feel you. I feel you. My last question for you: where you standing at right now with the Kamala Trump situation? Where you at on that?
I plead the fifth.
You gonna plead the fifth right now? I feel you.
I
I
plead
feel
the
you.
fifth.
You gonna plead the fifth? I feel you,
Mhm.
gorgeous. Thanks for tapping in. Send me an inbox so when I'm coming back to Charlotte, I'm sending you the flyer. So make sure I got a way I can reach
Okay. Nice meeting you.
you. Likewise, baby. Enjoy your evening.
You too.
All
Bye.
right, mama. All right. That was a beautiful African queen. That was a beautiful African queen. Free Palestine. Free Palestine. Free Palestine. That was a beautiful sister. My Charlotte Kings, y'all need to get y'all act together. My Charlotte brothers, y'all need to get y'all act together. That was a beautiful queen right there. Natural hair and everything.
If I can't grab it, you can't have it. If I can't grab it, you can't have it. Natural hair and everything, Charlotte Kings. But I'm gonna tell the sisters like this. Oh, me and Ray J gonna knock it out the park. The Snow Bunny Boogeyman is coming on Ray J podcast. The Snow Bunny Boogeyman is coming on Ray J podcast. The Snow Bunny Boogeyman is hopping on Ray J podcast. We're gonna turn it out. We're gonna turn it out. Snatched mine going once. Snatched mine going twice.
Hey,
Hey
Dr. UMAR.
there, beautiful. That's a beautiful smile. Where you at, Queen?
Actually, you know what's funny is I actually just moved to Dallas
Oh, you
not too long ago.
just moved to
Like,
Dallas.
yeah, like last week.
From where?
From Virginia, Northern Virginia.
Okay. Okay. What part of VA?
Manassas.
Okay, because we was at the Nat Turner land in Southern VA a couple
Yeah.
days ago, October 2nd. So what's your take if you was following that conversation there? You know, I asked the sister, what's the whole thing about black women are so adamant about Puffy being held accountable? And I can understand that. If he's done wrong, you should be held accountable. But there's other black men that black women see every day who they know have physically abused black women and they don't do anything about it. So I'm trying to understand that double standard. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think that it's complicated. I think that when you understand history and how that works and the way that the black man is seen in America, it makes the topic of discussion a very complex one, and it's one that we could easily go down the rabbit hole. I also think that you know, the agenda is clearly to have show the rise of the black man and also to show his downfall.
Mm.
So I think that Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said it very well when he said that the only way that the black man can really protect himself is to protect his integrity on his way up. Because when it does fall down, they'll find anything. You know, they'll find anything. And I think as sisters, um, you know, we've always been supportive of our brothers, always. And
You
this
sure
this
about
shows.
that?
I think that throughout history,
Well,
it has shown that
let-
we've always been
I,
supportive
I
of our
agree. I agree
brothers.
with that. But
Um,
let's stay in the 21st century.
in
In
the
the
21st century,
21st century, would you say black women have largely been supportive of black men these past 24 years? Would you say that?
I'm going to speak for myself and say yes.
Okay. Okay.
I'm not now. I don't know if you know how you and I originally met.
How?
We actually met in person,
Where?
and you told in Shanghai, China.
You was in China?
Hmm. We met in Shanghai.
Are you serious? Wait a
Hmm.
minute. You wasn't the hostess though, right?
I wasn't the hostess, but
Okay.
you and I
Okay.
had a conversation afterwards, and you were telling me I look like some girl from Chirac. I don't know.
Okay. 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 I think it's starting to come
It
back to
was
me.
a long time ago. Like when I say a long time ago, it was a
Yeah, because I
long time ago.
did China and Japan twice. I did
Hmm.
them in 2018. I
Yeah, it
did,
was 2018.
and I think
Yep.
2019.
We
Okay.
we met in 2018.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. We ain't go to
Yes.
we ain't go to dinner or nothing, though, right?
Look, listen. If you don't, if we went to dinner and you don't
God, this is
remember
so.
me, then you know what I mean. No, we definitely didn't go
I'm
to dinner.
joking. I'm joking
We
about.
definitely
I'm
didn't go to
joking
dinner.
about. So okay. So picking up where you were on
Hmm.
the okay. Speaking for yourself, you said you are largely supportive of black men.
Absolutely.
Do you think that's true for your sisters? Like generally, black women generally, do you say 50 in terms of supporting black men? 75-25? Where would you put the meter at for black women in general? Support for black men.
See, this kind of conversation is interesting because it's all about your association to the different circles that you're in. So a lot of my friends are married to black men, and You know, there's the network, right? If you're around a certain environment, then that's what you see, right? So the sisters that I'm around are all super duper supportive of Black men. We're all super duper supportive of their careers. We're all super duper supportive of everything. And those Black men in turn are also super duper supportive of us. So I would say that I'm around a healthy environment of our
Okay.
people. So in terms of the toxic stuff that I see on the internet, I only ever see that on the internet and on the media
Gotcha.
if I choose to get on.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? But otherwise, in real life, in real time, you know, I see nothing but, supporting that. And, even myself, like I support a Black man. I work for a Black man. So,
Okay.
that's important. I was like, if I'm gonna have a boss, it's gonna be a Black man,
Powerful.
you
Powerful.
know?
Powerful. What is your well, let me ask you this. I've heard black women say, and I've heard elders say this, queen mothers, that the Black men of today.
Why did Instagram cut my sister off?
Match mine. Where you at, gorgeous? Can we go on out to dinner? You got your tongue sticking out your mouth, sister. I'm not sure if you want some kind of pornographic thing. Why's your tongue sticking out your mouth, sister? I can't let you take me to dinner and your tongue sticking out your mouth. I don't know what you be doing with that tongue, sister. I don't know what you be doing with that tongue, sister. Snatch mine. You back, beautiful.
We're back.
Instagram cut us off. You know that.
It was too powerful of a conversation.
Instagram. And where was we at? Oh, I was asking you about the comment that elders be making, elder queen mothers, when they say the Black men of today are not the same as the Black men of yesterday. We've lost something. What do you think they mean by that based on what you see from Black men? What are we lacking that Black women wish we would pick up?
Purpose.
Purpose. You don't think a lot of men have purpose?
I think that a lot of men are more so pushing to the bag and they're leaving God out. And
Mhm.
I think that all purpose is driven by God. And I think that when we talk about, oh, I want an alpha man, oh, I want this, I want that, I think we should want a kingdom man. I think that we should want a man who submits himself to God first, because when he does that, then he's able to properly lead his family, and then it can properly be structured as God, man, woman, child.
I'm with you. Now, I need you to juxtapose the purpose piece because I'm with you.
Mhm. Okay.
But when y'all talk to the average sister, they're
Mhm.
not talking about purpose.
Mhm.
They're talking about pockets.
Yeah. Well, I'm not really the average sister, and I don't hang out with whoever that is. But what I will say is, I think that all of everyone has a purpose, right?
Mm,
Even the women, right? And I think that the women are getting to their own bag because they see that some men aren't able to provide them with that. And so I think in that, there comes, with women also being in their purpose and having purpose, I think men are in a position where, because women have educated themselves, and I think that it should be praised in a lot of other societies, the women being educated and all those things, it actually raises the standard for men to want to surpass that. And not that it's even a competition, but it's like, okay, well, the bar is set here now, so let's get above that,
mm,
right? But instead
mm,
it's seen as competitive. So in terms of purpose, what I'm saying is where's that labor of love? You know what I mean? Like, what is your labor of love? And the money's going to come. You know what I mean? In that labor of love. And when you find that queen that's gonna help you, or even you helping her in her purpose, I think that we've lost the support of one another. You know what I
mm,
mean? And having that true commitment,
mm.
true commitment and true dedication to one another. Because earlier you talked about like the single women and all that stuff. I think that a lot of the times our people in general are so emotionally underdeveloped that
Mm.
it's difficult. We've been taught to hate each other. And so if something can be taught, it can definitely be untaught. However, it does take time for that to happen. It does take time. That's a lot of deprogramming. That's a lot of like it's not even just the media, it's everything. It's in everyday society. And how we combat that, we have to be supportive of each other. You know what I mean? And I think that's where, I think even in a struggle, when we saw, in the 1960s civil rights movement and all that stuff, they were fighting together. And now we see each other fighting against each other. But we have to understand we're on the same team, right? Even if
Mm,
I don't agree with what you say, or you don't agree with what I'm saying, we're not fighting against each other. We're fighting against the principle and
I
how we
feel
align
you.
ourselves with that principle.
Question: Are you single
Yes,
now? You're a very balanced, very earthy, non-materialistic. At least this is what I get from you. You seem like you would accentuate what a man brings to the table quite well.
I do.
With that being said, why do you think you're still single?
I'm single by choice. I cannot say that I have men who men try to talk to me all the time. That's never a problem. Um, it's it's I think I would say by design and by choice at the moment,
Hmm.
just because I'm heavy in my purpose. And in order for me to have a king, he has to also be in his purpose, but he has to also understand that because God has me in such a position, it does mean that, he has to be of a certain caliber. He has to be of a certain, not even, it's not necessarily looking for a type, right? It's not, oh, he has to have money, he has to have this, like you said, earthy, drivey, whatever. It's about the intellect, right? Because at the end of the day, that man is taking care of my mind, right?
Hmm.
And so I'm looking for who can cultivate this mind, who can bring me closer to God and not from him and take me
Hmm.
from him, right?
Hmm.
So at the end of the day, that's what it's about for me. And the reason that I'm single is because I'm fighting for our children. I'm so busy creating curriculums and doing these plans. I'm up from the top of the morning to the bottom of the night creating plans and helping these babies read, that it's difficult to understand a certain schedule of, hey, yeah, I don't have time to, unless you're talking to me about, what you're doing in terms of building yourself and character
Hmm.
building. I don't have time to sit there and lollygag on the phone and just you sitting there on FaceTime watching me work.
Yeah, I feel you. What kind of work you do? Because I heard you mentioning curriculum and.
Yeah, okay. So I'm actually a chief operating officer of Howard Hughes Consulting Enterprises, where we do real estate development. We also help people with their credit, and I'm also in charge of the foundation. So the foundational piece is where we take children to Senegal, so they can experience, life over and see what life is like in Africa, as well as I had the curriculum for the teaching them how to read. So I can teach a student how to read in 6 months.
Ah.
And so in the foundation, I was able to prove that theory right. And I primarily teach Black children, because 70% of the boys aren't passing basic reading and writing
Mhm.
exams. And so I was like, that's why I left China. And I was like, why am I teaching children who don't look like me? I'm going to go home and teach students who do look like me and make sure that they're able to get their head up on whatever they need to. So that's what I do.
Uh, take my cell because we got to pick up on that conversation we had in Asia.
Yeah.
You able to take it?
Yeah, I messaged you. I was gonna say I wanted to talk to you about education and IEPs because I work with a lot of students who have ADHD and
Hmm.
IEPs, and
Hmm.
I realized that it's behavioral. They categorize them with learning challenges because they can't handle the behavior a lot of the time.
I want you to. Why my TV just came on and I didn't turn it on?
Look, there's a lot of crazy things happening every time we on the chat, Dr.
I
Umar.
feel you. I feel you. Shoot me a text. Put sacred mind so I know it's you.
Come on, sacred minds. It's
You.
snatched, but I'll
I'm
take
sorry. I'm
sacred.
sorry. Snatched mind.
Okay,
Snatched mind.
okay,
Put
Doctor.
snatched mind on there, and I'm gonna hit you back.
All right, Dr. Umar.
We might got to go to the TTG BBD concert tomorrow. Hit me up,
Okay.
beautiful. All
All right. Have a
right,
blessed
hon.
night.
Thank you, sweetheart. All right now. is business, brothers. Consciousness over the cookies. Politics over the punani. Revolution over the romance. Institutions over the intimacy. Business before the bedroom. Y'all know what this is. I'm very focused, brother. I'm going to talk to her about the curriculum, my brothers. I'm talking to her about saving the children, my brothers. Didn't you hear her say she needed some help with the IEP, the special ed? We trying to serve the community, serve the children. It's not about romance. It's about revolution. It's not about romance. It's about revolution. It's politics over the punani. I told you, Negroes. Y'all not listening to me. Consciousness over the cookies. I told you. Purpose over the peach cobbler. I told you, Negroes. It's purpose over the peach cobbler. It's liberation over the lotus flower. I told you, ninjas.